I always want to sneeze when I go live. So we get a really wide range of people that come on these lives. And quite a lot of the time, they're business owners that, there we go, put you on there. And now everyone's up on there. A lot of the time, it's business owners. So the coach, consultant, expert, or it's the businesses that they're looking, or they have a small sales team. That's the two primary audiences. And I think for a lot of the time out there, both of them have very similar problems and pain points. They've either got loads of leads and not loads of deals, or they don't have enough leads, but they're getting a few deals in here and there. And these are all problems that need fixing. And to be completely frank, if you don't go and fix these now, the likelihood is only going to get worse. And here's why. We're in a time now where across the globe, we're going to see a little bit more uncertainty. This isn't scaremongering. It's just the way it goes. If you go back to 2008, when the whole world went to absolute pot, buying habits changed for a lot of people. And people went from, this is great, we're making 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year, whatever that might be, to suddenly a lot of the people that always bought from them slowed down. They stopped. Their budget changed. Their funding changed. And that left people with a bit of a black hole. My favorite saying is you don't want to learn to swim when you fall off the boat. And for a lot of people out there now, they've been on cruise mode for the last 3, 4, 5 years. And suddenly, when this economy kicks in even more than it does now, when buying habits get more than they are right now, a lot of people are going to struggle a bit more than they are right now. So there's two sides. If you're doing well, you want to keep that momentum moving. And if you're not doing well, it's probably the best thing to do is to learn a bit more, change a bit more, adapt a bit more. And just as a proviso, this isn't me saying that you have to work with me. It's not. This is something that I say to everyone all the time. It's about getting the help you need. If that's through me, amazing. If it's through someone else, that's amazing too. A huge amount of the time out there now, we see people, they pitch this whole idea that you've got to work with me. I'm the only solution. I've got some real news for you guys. I'm not the solution for everyone. And no one is. There's not one fix. There's not one magical tablet out there, hey buddy, that fixes for everyone. And there's not only one solution. There's often many different ways that can happen. And this is why a lot of people actually don't make decisions, is because they're looking for the one surefire fix, when actually there's not. Often there's 10 different paths you could take. Say if I want to lose weight, right? Say if I want to lose 2 stone, I could look at 10 different diets, 10 different plans, right? All of them could work, but it's about finding the plan that's going to work for me, what I'm going to stick to, what I'm going to stay consistent with. And that's exactly the same as your business. That's exactly the same as where you are right now. If you're at a position now where you're trying to get to another stage, it makes sense to go off and find the hacks, the tips, the cheats. Now, there's a number of ways you can do this. 1, you can go off and hire someone. 2, you could go to somewhere like YouTube and you can spend all your time finding the information that you need. That works, right? 3, you stay where you are. Now, for most people out there, we're all aware that if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, we're not necessarily going to get massively more results. And for a lot of people, that's the problem. They're just waiting, and someone's told them once that just get more experience and it will get better. But experience doesn't come by just doing the same thing over and over again. That's not what you're trying to do. What we're trying to do is keep learning more things. Imagine if I'm a carpenter and all I've done is get a hammer and get a nail and every day done the same thing for 10 years. I'm not a seasoned carpenter. I'm an experienced person who's got 10 years experience of a repetition of hitting a hammer and a nail. It's not the same thing because you haven't experienced all those areas. So if you're going through a stage now where things aren't necessarily going your way, there's normally a lesson within that. If you're finding now that you're not getting the results you want, there's normally a lesson within that. Axe says, when you're going to do a little of mentoring, then, mate, we do mentoring all the time. It's literally what we do. So we do mentoring, we do coaching, and we do strategic development, we do training, the whole 9 yards. Depends what people are looking for. So if you want to put questions in the chat, by the way, so at the moment we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and where am I? LinkedIn. So if you're here, thanks for dropping in. We're trying to get on here as often as we can each day, testing out different days and different times so we can impact the most amount of people that we can. If you are the first time tuning in, my name is David. I help businesses make more revenue. And we do that through strategic development, training, skill sets, pitch development, and all of that jazz. If you're here on TikTok and you are enjoying what we talk about, if you're tapping the screen and sharing it out, that's the easiest way to say thanks, because that boosts the algorithm. It tells the algorithm, hey, there's something good going on over here. Do more of it and send it to more people. Instagram, I don't really know whether Instagram makes a difference. And then Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, no, it doesn't make a difference because we're doing this through StreamYard. So I don't think it would make any single bit of difference at all. So I hope everyone's had a good week. All we're talking about today is a little bit more about where we are, where we're trying to get to. I hired someone 3 months ago. And again, this isn't about working with me, but I hired someone 3 months ago. And it wasn't that they taught me anything new. They told me things I knew in a slightly different way, which made more sense. And then I executed on them because now I understood them fully. And a lot of the time, people are going out and hunting for more knowledge, but they don't know who's got more knowledge than them. So then they don't know who to hire, so they don't do anything, which is a bit of a pain. And that's the problem, is we don't necessarily want to stay where we are. We want to get to a better place. We want to get more results, but we don't know who the people are to go and help us do it. Or we go off and we find people that have done it, but they've done it 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And that doesn't mean they can't help, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're up to date. A lot of people go out and follow the biggest names that are out there, and they're amazing. But the journey that they're on at 10 million now, 100 million now, is very different from the people that are 200 grand, 500,000. So you want to find the relevant help for what you need at the stage you're at. Think of it like a plane. The effort and energy that it takes to get a plane off the ground is very different than the cruising speed of a plane. By the way, the people out there that are tapping the screen on TikTok and sharing that out, I do appreciate it. That makes a massive difference. It really boosts it out after a few minutes. So think about this. If you've got a plane at complete standstill, maybe that's you in your business right now, the power it takes to get it moving, then to get it on the runway, up the runway to a speed where it can take off, then the power it takes to get from takeoff speed to altitude, and then the speed it takes to maintain it at altitude is completely different. And if you're looking at someone now who's at altitude speed and you're replicating what they're doing, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to give you enough to get off the ground and get to altitude that you're trying to achieve. It's so important to look at where people are now and why they're directly helping. We've been working with a company recently based in the US, and this company, they're great. Hey, Barcelona. A lot of the people that we speak to in this company in America, they're a great company, but the director is teaching all the salespeople. Now, that's great, but the problem is the director's been off of the phones and off direct selling now for over 10 years. So he doesn't have the same drive. He doesn't have the same focus. He's never really taught people. Now, that doesn't mean he can't try. But what he's teaching is a lot of the time it was out of date. It was a different perspective. Audiences and buying habits were different. So there was some that was really valuable, but some that's actually using as more like an anchor to actually hold them back. And so once we had the conversation and we showed a bit of a difference in what we could do, immediately we could see a sharper result within the smaller sales team. Because now the sales team got a better idea of a modern perspective of what they're doing, combine that with the values and the standards of the company, which then meant they can move forward far quicker. And that's what you're really trying to do. We're trying to get to the stage now where we're getting more effective. We're trying to get a better rep. We're trying to get a better lap time. We're trying to get more effective, a better conversion, however you want to word it. You're trying to get better at what you do. And a lot of the time, the methods that are being taught are the older methods. If you go and look at the basketball players from the 1950s compared to today, the 1950 players wouldn't even remotely get into the team. Because as time's getting by and competition gets far higher, tools get far higher, tech gets far higher, equipment gets far higher, standards get far higher, everyone else gets left behind. And that's why when we're evolving, it's so important. We've got to make sure we're evolving. So if you've got questions, pop them in the chat. I know there's a few in here. We're going to come into them. I wanted just to jump on today between calls to see whether this is a good time for it. It seems a bit quieter today. I think recently we've been having about 1,200 people on TikTok come through in that hour, which is amazing. And again, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. It's good to see you all here as well. So let me have a quick snooze through. Snooze through? Nose through. And hey, Ryan, thanks for popping in. I'm rubbish at scrolling and talking, so you're just going to have to bear with me. It's great seeing so many people go through. It's hard to scroll. Okay, here we go. How can you close on a deal same day without making it look pushy? Okay, so this is actually a really good question. One, look at the fact of whether it should be closed on the same day. A lot of the time out there, people want to close a deal in the same day. And sometimes actually there needs to be other things that happen. If you do want to close on the same day, you've got to make sure that you've done things before the call, before the meeting, that can get them to the stage that they're either open to the idea or have carried out some of the research and the pain points that normally holds back them making a decision. Then when you get them on the call, you can focus in on those areas within the pitch, then helping them to make a decision there and then. But again, it depends what you're trying to do. Sid the man, what's your favorite tattoo? It's a hard one because I've got two of my kids. One's my boy and then one's my daughter as a baby. So they're both pretty good. Ben says, how do you keep a constant drive day to day? I posted about this on Instagram the other day. I don't. It's not about having constant drive. There's so many times when, like today, I could in theory just stop now and come back in January. We don't have to do new business. We don't have to do lives. But it's so important to keep the promises to ourselves. And I'm a big believer now, and I never used to be this way, but when I do things now, I try and think, will my future self thank me or frown at me? Like if I don't make the calls today, if I don't go to the gym today, if I eat all that crap today, is my future self going to thank me or is it going to frown at me? And a lot of the time, a lot of the stuff out there that we don't want to do, the constant drive, is based on motivation. But I'm pleased today that I kept my motivation last week. And I'll be pleased next week that I kept my drive for today. And it's really thanking yourself. Your future self is going to thank you for what you're actually doing. Bestie, it's 979. Hello, DC Flatco. Good to see you again. What's a good career path for after sales? What do you mean? Someone's just put, I look like Johnny Knoxville. I don't know if that's good or bad. After sales, as in, for some people out there, getting out of sales isn't, some people move from sales to manager. It doesn't mean they're any good. If you're going to move from sales to manager, you've got to learn to become a good manager. I think for a lot of people out there now, if you're in sales, one of the best steps is to move into high ticket closing because you get the freedom of being self-employed, but you don't have to have a product, a service, a logistics, delivery. You don't have to have customer service and you get paid really well. I've got clients at the moment, which are coaches, consultants, experts, where they want closers. And we provide them with them when we find good people. And they literally have a shared calendar. They get trained. We normally have built their pitch out. And they get calendars in their appointments, or they have a follow-up people to get in touch with. And they get paid anywhere from 5 to 20% of the sale value. So you think at 10%, you sell a £10,000 product, you make a couple of sales a week, make it $2,000 a week. And then you can build up from that and you can change and you can get upsells and opportunities. So I think it's one of the best ways to go. Sammy, I'm not sure if looking like Johnny Knoxville is a good thing, but thanks for commenting. Daniel, thoughts on recruitment agencies and recruitment as an industry? I got screwed by a recruitment company years ago. But again, it is what it is. what can you do? Everyone has a bad experience with something, and that's just the way it goes. I think recruitment agencies fulfill a need. I think a lot of people that have used recruitment agencies have had a bad experience at some point. So the new recruitment agencies have to overcome that. But again, people get paid well. I don't think they get paid as well as they used to, but still doing well. Doki, thanks for the questions, Roy. Doki says, I'm the cheapest web designer nationwide, yet no one purchases. Just because you're cheap. So when we talk about price, just because you're cheap doesn't mean someone will buy. Think of it like this. Anytime you're selling a product or a service, you are a risk. Sorry, I'm just getting bookings coming in. You are a risk. You could damage my business, damage my reputation. You might not deliver what I say. You might cause me a headache. I might be left with a worse thing. Prime example, you might be the cheapest web designer. I don't want a cheap website. I want a website that's around a budget that I want to spend that's going to deliver me on the results I want while shining a good light on my brand. If you said you were the cheapest one out there, I wouldn't want to buy it. I wouldn't buy the cheapest brakes in my car either. I talk about that with objection handling. Like, why would I want cheap brakes in my car? I want to be able to get the brakes I can afford so that when I'm doing 80 on a motorway or 70 on a motorway and I put my foot on the brake, I get the thing I wanted without any concern. So maybe don't be the cheapest and don't market yourself as that. User ending in 1397. Thoughts on customer success managers? I think they're really good. It's something that we'll probably bring in next year. We're going to be launching a group program, and they're really good for that. So at the minute, we don't have a group program, and my clients have me directly, so I don't need one. But when we launch the group program, and then we'll have a 12-week program, and we'll have probably 20 people in each group. So if 20 people in each group, instead of doing a one-to-one program at say 12 grand, they might only pay 4 grand. So they'll pay a hell of a lot less. They'll be in a group, so they still get the training, the guidance, but then a success manager who can help nurture those 20 people and keep them accountable is far easier to do. So I think they're a great way to do it. Scrolled up, sorry. DC Flacco, got into sales to build interpersonal skills, but can only see myself going into enterprise level. It's up to you. For me, the enterprise level sales are a headache. I don't like that long cycle. I believe it depends what people want. I like freedom. I like high commissions. I like shorter lead cycles. I like to make sure that I can get in that conversation with people, make a difference in their life, and make it abundantly clear. With enterprise sales, for me personally, just for me, there's so many people in the pot that are making decisions. It's not as much. But if you like that, mate, do whatever you love. Ben says, love that, mate. Good man. Leanne says, what about MLM? What are your thoughts? Do you know who's a good person to look at if you look at MLM? MLM is Fraser Brooks. He was on the podcast. I've got a podcast, the Sales Masters podcast. And Fraser Brooks, let me find his handle for you. He's worth checking out. Let me find it for you. At Fraser Brooks, ES on the end, online. He's got like 239,000 followers. World stage. His family was involved. His mum and dad were in it before him. He's really, really good. Really good guy. I think like anything out there, the great thing is with MLM, it's a very low barrier to entry. The problem is I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of work it goes into it. But then if you stick at it, you can do extremely well. So that makes a big difference. But really go into, excuse me. He's a really good person to look into. If you're going to look into something out there, it makes a big difference that you know that you can lean into and trust into what they actually do. And for a lot of people out there, they go into this sort of stuff half-baked. And I think the problem is that they go into it and they sort of do it. But I think like anything out there, you get out of it what you put in. So if you're here today on TikTok, Insta, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, if you're going to do anything, like you've got to go, hi, Jason, oi. You've got to go at it all. Like courses aren't designed to be half done. Jigsaws aren't meant to be half made. Imagine baking a cake and only half baking it. Like it's going to be shit. And for a lot of people out there, they go into MLM, sales, marketing. They get a very basic level of knowledge, and then they stop learning, they stop implementing. And that really, I think, messes up for a lot of people out there. Hope it helps. User 1397, have you read the Challenger Sale? So what are your thoughts? I think with challenging sales anyway, you're challenging people to sort of think differently out there. I think the idea that not everyone's created equal, I don't think all clients are equal. So around some of the concepts, yes. I touched on this the other day. Most sales methodologies, most methodologies out there anywhere have got some similarities, right? United Minds. I've got some similarities. There's some crossover that's out there that you're going to find. So I'm getting loads of messages come through, which is cool. So yeah, I think with anything that's out there, you're going to find similarities. Find what works for you. Go at it, master it, and become an absolute beast. Dylan says, starting out in car detailing. Starting out in a car detailing business, what's your advice to bring in more customers? Reach your network first. By the way, United Minds Hampshire have just joined me on Instagram. If you are someone, they're based in the UK in Hampshire. Men's mental health, really important subject. They're a really good group over there to go and check out what they do if you're in and around the Hampshire area. So Dylan said, sorry, Dylan, starting out in car detailing business, what's your advice to bring in new customers? Okay, here's the great thing about car detailing. You're going to get repeat business. So I've got a BMW i8. There's literally a car washing place directly opposite my office. So I use them. So I'm not really the market to go and get your detailing done because they do a great job. I drop it off. I pick it up on the way back. So it's no effort for me. So I'm not necessarily the right fit. If I didn't have that here, you could quite easily come out to my place every month to do a serious car detailing. So that means, okay, I don't just need to find single clients. I need to find people that I could get out and regularly go and see. Now you get to the stage where, okay, now I need 30 clients a week. Say you could get to 30 a week or 30, 50 a month. Now you go, okay, who could I find that would actually book in consistently? Then offer them out a deal that if they committed to the next year after they've done the first one, you give them a discount. You get them on a monthly subscription or whatever it might be. There's so many different parts with there. But to get those first clients, go out to now, go to car events, go and find the people who've got the cool cars. Go to the Porsche garages. Go and find the people that are pulling up. Go to the nice restaurants. Drop business cards on their blooming windscreens all the way around every decent restaurant anywhere that you go. There's so many ways that you can get out there. Go and find people with decent cars. Do the first one for 50% off and prove yourself and lean into it. A lot of people who've got decent cars are entrepreneurs. So if you've got people that are entrepreneurs, they respect the hustle. They're going to appreciate it. It makes a big difference. Hope that helps, Dylan. Topher says, how do you get the prospect to not hang up on your intro when you get 5 calls a day? Do you know the big thing you've got with a lot of this? Not everyone is going to do it. Not everyone's going to give you the time of day. But you've got to fall in love with the process. It's got to be different. The problem is a lot of the time when people hang up, we take it personally. I've literally posted on my TikTok about this today. I think I posted it on Insta as well. And I was calling people up, check that yawn out. That my team had contacted and they put in a hang up folder. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go and call them up. These people don't even remember us. So even if they did hang up, you can call them back another time. But the main thing you're looking to do in a sales process is reduce resistance and increase flow. Now, if I phone up and I say, hi, John, it's Dave over at Tuster, immediately they're going to feel like it's a sales call. If I phone up and say, hi, is that Steve? Immediately they know I don't know them. So there's so many small things that you can do within your life that reduces resistance without even it being anything to do with them. And often a lot of people aren't. What we're doing that we think is polite actually elevates the resistance because they've got a negative association behind it. Being different, being straight. One of my favorite things, Benjamin Danahy, I can never remember his name. He's like an Aussie or New Zealand guy. And he literally goes, hey, this is a cold call. Do you want to hang up? One of the best openers you can ever have. It's so good because it makes such a difference. Because some people will hang up. What you say? Give us 30 seconds. I'll tell you why I called. Or do you want me to tell you why I called? And then I'll hang up on myself if you hate it. No, there's so much you can do. And if they go, okay, no, now you internally get 20 seconds to talk to them. And then you can try for another 20 seconds. And if they want to stay, they can stay longer. Hope that helps. Joe Broom, good to see you. Someone says, I'm not interested on a call. Best response. Depends on the stage of the call. It really does. If you've literally called, bring, hi, blah, 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 I'm not interested. They're not saying I'm not interested. What they're really saying is, nah. It's a very different thing. If you fully pitched it and they said they're not interested, that's a very different thing. Now, if someone says to me after initially meeting me, said, oh, yeah, no, I'm not interested. In my mind, I'm thinking whatever I've said, they likely have a wrong association to what we actually do. So I will normally try and avoid the questions that are going to bring up that statement. So, for example, if I talk to someone now and we're doing a call and I'd say to them, we talk to smart business owners that want to make a bit more money, but you're probably about to go to the Maldives. Anyone who see my videos, so I go, you're about to fly to the Maldives, might know my luck, because you've made so much money, you couldn't manage any more sales even if you wanted to, right? So instead of me trying to get them interested, I then lean on the negative. They'll normally laugh and say something along the lines of, well, no, we always want more sales. And I'll be like, oh, okay. And then I'll go into a conversation. And even if they say, nope, don't want any more sales, say, do you think you'll ever want more sales in the next 10 years? I go a really long time. Like, well, yeah, at some point in the next 10 years. Okay, cool. What do you think? And then you're into a conversation. So then it's less about trying to get the objection of not interested, and it's working out why they say they're not interested, and then get into a conversation and that doesn't bring that up. Hope that helps. Leanne says, yes, totally agree. Fraser's amazing. Yes, he's amazing. Podcast, Ben, is the Sales Masters podcast. Some really cool people on there. David Meltzer, Fraser Brooks, Spencer Lodge, Darius Studi, Chris Doe, Ram Castillo, loads of great names. We're going to do season 2 coming out soon. Leanne says, MLM's been amazing for me. Helped me in my amazing. Cool. Husty, what's the most effective way for a 27-year-old male to break into sales? It doesn't really matter if you're 27. It doesn't even matter if you're a male. Getting into sales, like when we're selling to people, look at reducing the resistance and increasing the flow. Go and learn how to sell. It's the easiest thing to do. And then when you've got the level of confidence and you can go into a short lead cycle for a coach, consultant, expert, that you can literally talk to someone today and get a payment today, and you've got the skills, you don't mind if they don't pay you a wage. You just get a higher commission. So then if they're going to provide you with leads and you know how to sell and you get in front of people, to make 4 to 8 grand isn't that hard within a couple of months. Hope it helps. Jacko says, where are you based? I'm based on the south coast of England. I can't take you all with me. So this is where we are. Let's see, I8 down there. So I'm based on the south coast of England because I love being near the water. I like living next to the river, and the joys of the internet mean that I can just travel anywhere. Right. Right, I'm trying to find more questions. Cold calling is all right. Shaquille Oatmeal, good name. Cold calling is the modern equivalent to door-to-door. Okay, first and foremost, it's not the modern equivalent to door-to-door. Cold calling has been around for donkey's years. It's not a modern equivalent. They're both cold calling. One's just doing it a physical form of knocking on a door, and one's doing it through a phone. So actually, it's going to be intrusive. But what we've got to do, instead of trying to make it less intrusive, we've got to make sure that we're actually doing it in a way that adds value, that has the right conversation, that gets us to the right point, that gets them to feel that they're actually drawn into the conversation. Health or wellness coach. I don't know what you mean. You've put, is it a confidence thing? I don't know what you mean. Give me more context. Day here. Beginning tips for cold calls. Beginning tips for cold calls. 1, fall in love with the process, not result. Stop worrying about your result. Fall in love with just getting out there. Imagine if I was going to play baseball, instead of trying to hit home runs, I've got to spend as much time on the plate perfecting my form, my swing, the way I see the ball, getting used to seeing the ball come towards me. Getting out there and having the reps is the most important part. It just becomes so much easier once you've actually got the reps in. Peter Jackson, recruitment market is currently tough to win new business. What do you suggest doing? Get your team to be absolutely white hot on their sales skills. And the people teaching them need to be white hot as well. I'm sorry to say, but a lot of businesses, not just recruitment in general, their team aren't training every day. Sales is an eroding skill. Like in the same way, if I go to the gym now and I hench right up, if I stop going to the gym, my muscles will deplete. They're going to stop swelling up. I'm not going to be as swole. And it's exactly the same in sales. What happens a lot of time in recruitment is they've had a really easy ride getting all this business with a big budget. They haven't had to go and work for it as much. So get the skills, get the mindset, get the hunter mentality to get on and really get out there and make an absolute impact. Talk to people like me if you want. Feel free to drop me a DM. We've got loads of questions today on TikTok. James says, how many cups of coffee do you have a day? Probably about 8. About that. But I don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs. So this is like my biggest vice. I get sponsored by these great people, the Isle of Wight Tea and Coffee Company. Their coffee's great. What industries would you recommend for good sales position? Again, for me, it's about finding the right sales type for what you do and what you like. I like short sales cycles where I do a lot of phone-based stuff, where I can have a lot of interactions, where my tonality can come through and I can really get into people with projects that are going to change and impact their life in a fast way. That's what I look for. Derek Blade says, salesmen are a special breed. It's a personality type. I completely disagree. You could be, if you go and look at Chris Do is a real massive introvert. So softly spoken, smart as hell. He is not your typical sales guy, but absolutely crushes sales. Absolutely crushes. Go and watch his sales videos on YouTube. Unbelievable the way he goes about it. And it's not a personality type. His personality type and my personality type are completely polar opposites. It's all about learned skills. And a lot of the time, it's an easy thing for us to say but it's a personality type. But actually, if someone went off now and committed to learn Cantonese every day for an hour for a year, I'm pretty sure we're all aware that eventually they would become good at that. And exactly the same as sales. If you spent an hour every day deliberately for the next year and came back, whatever your personality type was, you'd be far better at selling, I believe. Thanks, so Derek. Business OX. Building a new market in recruitment is a very sophisticated buyer. I don't believe in sophisticated buyers. Sorry. It's not about them being sophisticated buyers. It's about you understanding the buying process for them more. Everyone out there, the professor and the bum, all have things that they like. They were all a child at one point. They were all people at one point that had a dream that they've given up on. They're all people out there that have struggled, tried, and failed. And so, yes, it might be more complex. It doesn't mean that they're a sophisticated buyer. What we're normally saying is that we feel inferior to a certain part of them, or we don't feel adequate to what it has to be. But actually, when you understand the way they like to buy, imagine if it's my favorite song and the way I like a song sung, and you were a singer and you sung a song in the way that I like it to be sung, I'm going to lean into it more. Exactly the same with sales. Ken Keogh, I'm from Australia. Love your videos. Love that, buddy. Reese Devlin, tips on getting high ticket sales jobs. Yes, huge amounts. There's so much you can do out there. One is understanding the B2C model, because it's a combination. Although you're selling to a business, they are someone normally who's a coach, consultant, expert who previously were in a job. So it's like selling B2C, but you are selling B2B. And you're selling a transformational business. Getting into the high ticket sales, a lot of the time you're selling transformational services that are over a certain period of time, they're going to get a certain result based on a certain effort. A lot of those are 1 and 2 call closes. So if you're going into that thing, we do it now. We have it where we have coaches, consultant experts that want high ticket salespeople. We've got a program, it's a couple of grand, where at the end of it, once you graduate, we help you get into an actual coach, consultant, expert. The problem is most coach, consultant, and experts, they want good salespeople, but they don't know how to identify them. So they lean to people like us to help them find the positions because they know that we'll have trained them up in the right way. Hope that helps. Derek Blades, are you a coach for sales in all industries? No, I don't work with enterprise sales. We turn down quite a lot of business. And not because in a knobby way, but if you look at where we are at the moment, you guys can't all see it, but you can see on our board up there, there's plenty of deals that come in. And that's because we're looking for a certain sweet spot. So, for example, we've got an academy. I could put 10,000 people in one company on the academy right now. Would I personally want to coach a 10,000 person company? No. I like the 0 coach, consultant, expert to 10 salespeople. We have companies with 40 and 60 and 80. But my sweet spot is around there. And what we're actually looking to do is look at their existing plan and tune it. Think of it like this. The easiest way to explain it. Imagine you are a Mercedes C180. We turn you into a track car. We don't build a new car. We tweak and adjust this performance of this vehicle, and then we improve the skills of the driver to mean that the driver on the track can get the most optimum out of the new track car that they've got. And that's what we do through systems, frameworks, skill sets, training, accountability, pitch development, objection handling, and everything else in between. Anyone wants to reach out, let me know. Hope it helps, Derek. Casanova 450. David, I have a client in real estate. How do I get him to go for my suggestions and close? When a lot of people out there ask me questions like this, here's the big thing we've got. There's no magic pills in sales. You need context around that person, what they need, what their pain point is, why they need to take action, why you're the best option. And a lot of the time out there, we don't have that. Healthful wellness coach says, is being able to sell easily just being confident? No, it's not about that. As I said before, Christo is an amazing salesperson, introverted. It's about learning the skills. This is why we have the academy, because this is whether you guys join or not. You can go to tusta, tusta.co.uk, put in the code sales and get a discount on your first month. And there's 700 trainings there on how to do. So you can go in, focus on your personality side, skill set, sales ability, need, watch a video, and literally today become better at sales. That's how it works. Hope it helps. Oh, hang on a minute. I just scrolled up too far. Alex, sorry. Ken says, how do you get over mental sales fatigue? It seems silly to have it as I'm not fit. Okay, it doesn't. Anytime when your body tells you something, don't beat yourself up about it. Years ago, I had a complete mental breakdown. It cost me everything. Lost my business, lost my home, everything, because I drunk my way through mental set of fatigue and thought I could just push myself out of it. It's really important to listen to your body, listen to your mind, and don't beat yourself up. A lot of the time, what we're doing is repeating actions that aren't working. Hope that helps, and all the best, buddy. Peter Jackson says, thanks, you're welcome. The bear annoying boss, what are you selling? I'm not here selling anything today, bud. We use social media, lives especially, just to give live Q&As. It highlights a lot of people to our content, where you see a lot of our live sales trainings that we do. And that turns into clients. People that want to increase revenue, they want to improve their business, their processes, their systems, their skills. They reach out to someone like us and we do it. Where are we? I've scrolled up again. Business OX, do you do coaching for individual business? Yeah. So, for example, I've got a client in a minute. He came from TikTok, who came over to Insta. He's got a great business. They deal with a fairly high ticket, 15K to 60K product. They've got the ability to sell it. And then they've got an install team around the property base. And so he approached me. Great guy, great business model. But he's just not effective at sales. So we then work with him over 12 weeks. We build out the sales system. We build out the pitches. We train them up. We get them at the ninja shop, and then absolutely kick ass in their business. Hi, Dar. Best advice for a younger sales rep trying to become a key account manager. Kick ass, get more results. Sorry, but that's literally it. Become the very best person out there. Make it undeniable. Most of the time, we're operating at a lower level than we could. BMC, have you had anyone complain about the training programs after buying? About our programs? No. And the reason being, our more expensive programs are sort of 5.5K, 12K programs. They've normally watched my content for 4 months. Hey, buddy, good to see you. Before they've got involved. So they know what they're going to get. They know they're going to kick ass. And they get so much from us that they're sort of blown away. So no. And the academy wise, people can spend 150 quid on month one, access it, watch all 60 hours or whatever is on there now, and not pay after month two. So there's no reason for them to. And if they love it, they stay. I can't pronounce their name. Any advice for selling legal services company? Depends what you are actually trying to do. In there. Connie, how do I put a brave face on when you're having a hard time? Okay, so if you're having a bad time in your personal life, recognize it, lean into it. It's not about being a stone hard killer. And that's what a lot of people think. Yes, we need to dig deep on some days, but everyone's going to have bad days. I always say that to people all the time. I'm having an absolute shocker today. Do you want to hang up or give me 30 seconds and I'll tell you why I'm calling? Right? It doesn't have to be fakeness and smiles over it. I hope that helps, Connie. We own a tech firm. We have cold callers and email games. What else should we do? Get them better at what they're doing in the nicest way. It depends on what your cold callers, what are they doing? Appointment setting or closing? What are their conversion rates? What are their appointment rates? What are the KPIs they've got in place? What are their skill sets? How do they compare to other people out there? Again, reach out if you want. They don't know me, son. They don't know me, son. Can you cover training for the average deals that Can you cover training for the average deals roughly 200, 300K? Yes. So it really depends on what actually is going on. For a lot of people that are out there right now, it depends on where you sell. It's not necessarily the value on what you sell. For the vast majority of people that are out there, and this is why we do these lives, because I want to give as much value as I can. It's not about, we can do training for, I've got clients now that do 700 grand deals, for example, in the States. When I first met them, they were doing 200 grand deals. And now the upsells and the opportunity and the mindsets and the resells. Then there's other people that are out there that are going out now and they're selling products that are 10 grand, but they're 10 grand every year. And they're going to keep getting that repeat business. So if you look at the 5-year, 10-year cycle, again, they're higher ticketed. So with a lot of stuff that's out there, it depends on the company. So for example, if I went to a 200-person company, right, and they're selling £1,000 products and they sell 2 products a day, the value for what we would impact is far higher. When we're going to companies now and we work on a slower ticketed program, that's far more my sweet spot. Go and look to Jeremy Minor, for example. Jeremy Minor's got a team, I think, of 60 people. So if you've got something out there where people now have got a massive company, they're a better fit because they want to have all these client success managers and stuff far easier. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of what we do. I think we've done them about more. Oh, you're fine. They don't know me, son. Said I don't mean to sound awful. No, you're absolutely good. Jake says, okay, so this is really valuable. Jake says, I'm going through some stuff at the moment and it's affecting my sales performance. Any advice to make sure my customers don't feel that? You've got to take time. Right? Mental health is something which is so overlooked. And your mindset, your skill set is not worth any job. Your mindset, sorry, isn't worth any skill set that you've got for a job. It is so important to take the time to get yourself in the right mind. Maybe that means you need to take a break. Maybe you need to take a week off. Now, here's the hard thing. And the real truth is, a lot of sales jobs, it's hard to take that time off. So what you've got to do is work out how can you get yourself to be in the safest mindset so that you can do the best that you can. And instead of trying to jump back to full power, what can you do every day to keep moving yourself forward? Like, it's not about going easy on yourself, but it's also not about beating the crap out of yourself easier, because it is so easy to just go through that. Right, I need to go. So I've got calls anyway. Thank you everyone who's dropped in. It's been good seeing people on Insta, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. I think all 3 of those are on. Thank you for all tuning in. Going to have a good weekend. It's Friday. It is 1:20. So finish the week strong. Go into the weekend. Really feel good for yourself. And when you're at work, be at work. When you're at play, be at play. And then go and enjoy weekends. All right. Good one. Thanks for popping in, everyone. See you all later. Bye.